everybody, Mike Banner here for this week's episode of 62 Who Knew. I always want to start out by thanking our audience, which just continues to grow every week by the thousands. In November, we had a little over 21,000 viewers. When you consider we started the podcast 11 months ago and we had 200 viewers the first month. We're very excited about that growth, and we expect that to continue to huge numbers next year. Also want to tell everybody this is the last live episode of 2025. We will be showing 2 more episodes, and they will be our favorite repeats. But this is our last live episode. So thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for all of you liking, sharing, subscribing, all the people that have gone to our website and that we've been able to have. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful holiday season and a happy and healthy new year. Right now, on to today's show. We want to introduce our guest, Mr. Tom Hegna, counting the first 62 Who Knew television show. This is Tom's 4th appearance. I'm going to give you a little bit of Tom's bio. His last appearance broke all records on our podcast. And I'm going to read his bio, and then I'm going to make probably the most exciting announcement for 62 Who Knew in the year. But let me tell you a little bit about Tom Hegna before we get to Mr. Marc Zimmerman, who was on just a few weeks ago and is our national sponsor and also a veteran of the insurance world. So Mr. Tom Hegna is an author, speaker, and economist. He has been an incredibly popular industry speaker for many years and considered to be among the retirement income experts of the country. I consider him to be the best. As a former senior executive at New York Life, a retired lieutenant colonel, which I always say thank you for your service, and national economist, Tom has delivered over 5,000 seminars helping baby boomers and seniors retire the optimal way. He is the perfect person for the 62 Who Knew family. He has condensed a large chunk of his considerable knowledge into 5 different books, of which I've read 4. I have to admit I haven't read the most recent one yet. Number 1, which is my favorite, Paychecks and Playchecks. Now, we're not here pushing books. You never hear me do that, except for my own book. Sometimes I do that. But if you're one of the tens of thousands of people listening, go out and get Paychecks and Playchecks. It changed my life 5 years ago. It'll change yours. His second book, Retirement Income Masters, Secrets of the Pros. Number 3, again, Playchecks and Paychecks. Number 4, Don't Worry, Retire Happy. And number 5, 7 Steps to Retirement Security. He did a public television series based on that was shown in over 80 million homes. I could go on, but I'm not going to go on. It's just fantastic to have you as a guest, and I want to thank you and make an announcement to our audience that Tom is now going to be our national annuity spokesman. We're going to be passing on so much knowledge from Tom to our audience, so much from TomHegna.com, which is just such a vast amount of retirement expertise. So, Tom, thank you for being our sponsor, our spokesman, and thank you for being back.
Thank you, Michael. Good to be back with you.
All righty. And Marc, of course, you were on last month and also had a staggering show with 13,000 viewers. Wow. And a veteran, I said earlier, for 20 years. He corrected me. It's only been 18 years. So I'll never say that again, at least for another 2 years. In the insurance world, president and founder of Zimco Financial and 62 Who Knew's national sponsor for all things insurance. Welcome back, Marc.
Michael, thank you very much for having me.
Okay, so I have 2 experts, believe it or not. For those of you that know me, I'm going to pretty much let them take over and keep my mouth shut for most of the show. I know the audience is going, I don't think so. And of course, my friends and my relatives are going, he can't do that, but I can do that. So Tom, again, I haven't read your latest book, but Playchecks and Paychecks changed my world. And again, not only what makes you different to me as a person who needs to save to retire. Here I am, 67 years old and still working. You don't base what you say on opinion or your theories. They're based on science and math, and that's very different from other people in yours or anywhere in the financial industry. So I'd like you to go over that just a little. and how it relates to what you profess to people.
Yeah, so I'll tell you how Paychecks and Playchecks came about. And by the way, here's what it looks like. That's the book right there. But anyway, I was I was a senior executive officer at New York Life, and New York Life was probably 10 or 15 years ahead of the industry, focused on retirement income. And I had to take a field force of about 13 or 14,000 agents and teach them why they should be selling income products instead of the sexy variable annuities or the mutual funds or all these things that are market based and they're much sexier. How can we start selling SPIAs, single premium immediate annuities, and DIAs, deferred income annuities? They're boring products. They're very simple. How do I get them to do that? Well, I had to dig into retirement income. I had to read white papers from Dr. David Babel, Dr. Moshe Milevsky, Dr. Menachem Yari, Dr. Wade Pfau, Dr. Michael Blanchett, Dr. Michael Finger. And what I did in reading those, these are some of the smartest people in the world, and they use math and science. And if you read their works, it's all these long formulas. Like I couldn't even read these formulas, but and then if you think about who designs annuities and who designs life insurance products, they're called actuaries. What do actuaries have to study to become actuaries? Math and science. And so everything I write about and I speak about, these aren't my opinions. These aren't the opinions of people. This is mathematically and scientifically based. There is an optimal formula. I don't say the best because nobody knows what's going to be the best. I mean, if Bitcoin hits $1 million of Bitcoin, we should all put our money in Bitcoin. If gold hits, 50,000 an ounce, we should put our money in gold. If the stock market goes to 100,000, we should all put our money in the stock market. Nobody knows what's going to be the best. What math and science does when there's many different things, inflation up, inflation down, market up, market down, recession, depression, they find the optimal. And all optimal means is your best chance to have the best outcome, okay? They look at all the different, what would be the optimal solution? It's the best chance of having the best. And that's what I write about. That's what I speak about.
And that is incredible. Marc, in your 18 years of experience, you've sold, we know each other pretty well, a plethora of annuities, different types of annuities, converting people to annuities. What have you found? I love how Tom said the other ones are more sexy. They sound more sexy. These are boring, but more factual. Have you found that to be true with your database of clients?
100%. The biggest challenge or the biggest thing that I face when I'm talking to my clients and helping my advisors speak to clients is sharing with them the value proposition of something less sexy but more stable. So it really positions them for a great income, a guaranteed income, and security for their money. I come across people that say, that's boring. What's the upside? I like watching every day the stock market go up and down. It's exciting. It's colorful. But when they get to the point where they have no money, all of a sudden that colorful stuff looks black. And in my conversations with the people that I come across, I talk about how do we keep it neutral, but make certain when you're ready to be done, the money's there for you, it's protected. So sexy is great, but stable's pretty. And let's stay pretty, or how I like to really define it, in a smart way to prepare yourself for your retirement. So yes, very much like Tom. Sexy, again, is great, but let's stay pretty.
What the math and science shows is you should have some money exposed to stocks, and maybe you should have a little crypto, but it's all in the right place at the right time. What it shows is that 20 to 40% of a retirement portfolio should be in retirement income, guaranteed lifetime income. And that's the paycheck. And then you can invest. And even BlackRock, and by the way, BlackRock doesn't sell any annuities, but they're smart, and they got a lot of smart people. And they say adding guaranteed lifetime income to a retirement portfolio increases performance by 29% and reduces downside risk by 33%. That's BlackRock. Barclays, they don't sell any annuities. They say fixed index annuities outperform bonds. The Wall Street Journal said you should move some of your bonds into annuities. So, I mean, the research is clear that it's not annuities versus stocks. It's that income annuities outperform bonds, and that will help your overall portfolio. So you don't have to get rid of the sexy stocks if you don't want to, but you should just have more guaranteed lifetime income to at least replace those bonds that have not been doing what they should be doing over the past, 5 or 10 years.
And Tom, I completely agree. The point that I'm making is It's a needs analysis process. Let's talk to our prospect, find out where they're comfortable, what their risk tolerance is, what percentage of those dollars that they want to put somewhere are really well suited for stocks. If they want to place with some crypto, is it 20%? Is it 30%? And then how do we diversify into things that are more secure? Because what happens if they make that move and it has a negative outcome for a little while? It doesn't mean they're not going to recover or they can't cost average down. But like you just said, let's take a look at the percentile. What's their risk tolerance? What's their total portfolio look like? And how do we blend it out so they have that guaranteed income and security for retirement while they're still, making the moves that they'd like to?
And I also think it's very important. Two important things to say is, number one, Tom Hegna does not sell annuities. He's not here selling anything. Right. And I think that brings a credibility to you that, all our guests come on to sell something. Our website is here to sell things. That's life. That's what we do. We want to help people with goods and services. You're here as an expert, and you do not sell annuities, which I think gives you
but I own 13 annuities, so I buy them, I don't sell them, and I show people. And by the way, so because I've been doing this for years, I bought some deferred income annuities. So they've already started. They started now, but I bought them years ago. Mm-hmm. And on average, my income annuities are paying me 9% a year for the rest of my life. And so for safe money, I can't find a better place for my safe money. Now, came out and I said, I support 1% into crypto. And I did that when Bitcoin was back at 2000 Bitcoin. I'm glad I did it. I just said 1% of my portfolio because if I lost it, it wouldn't hurt me. And then I own real estate. I have some, different stock and type investments, but I made a decision probably about 10, 12 years ago that I'm not going to lose money anymore. Mm-hmm. So my deal is I want to make as much as I can make, but I don't want to lose what I've already got. And that's how I invest now. And the insurance industry is great for that. I can have unlimited upside with like a variable annuity or with a RILA, but I can still have downside protection. I can have guaranteed lifetime income. There's all different things I can do to get, significant rates of return, but still have guarantees that I'm not going to lose my money.
As we live longer than any generation before us, one question becomes more important than ever. Will your income last as long as you do? On the 62 Who Knew podcast, we dive deep into the strategies that protect your future. And at the center of every strong retirement plan is guaranteed income. Annuities create income you cannot outlive. They provide stability, protection, and peace of mind, no matter what the market does. Visit 62whoknew.com and start planning the rest of your life today. For millions of Americans, the greatest asset they own is their home. Yet most of that equity sits locked away, unused. What if there was a way to unlock your home's value without debt, without interest, and without monthly payments? Introducing Chiefs, converting home equity into financial success. A revolutionary strategy that lets you turn a small piece of your home's equity into cash you can use today to protect your retirement tomorrow. Visit 62whoknew.com to learn how Chiefs can fund long-term care, annuities, life insurance, or lifestyle goals. One of the things also in the book that just staggered me was you have real medical statistics of when people are watching the market. Marc, you had mentioned it's exciting to watch it go up and down, but their monthly income, their check, their dividends goes up and down. Right. Where with Tom's, scientific principles, we live on income. I want Tom to expand on that. We know that's what we pay our bills with. That's what we have fun with. That you have medical statistics showing that more people have heart attacks and strokes watching that portfolio go like this rather than people that know that check is there every month.
Yeah, I say there's 3 reasons why you really want to add guaranteed lifetime income to retirement portfolio. First of all, as I mentioned before, it improves retirement portfolio performance. And the reason is because the annuities outperform the bonds. It's not that they're outperforming the stocks, they're outperforming the bonds, and so the portfolio does better. Number 2, you're likely to be happier. That's what all the research shows. The Wall Street Journal had the headline, "The secret to a happy retirement is friends, neighbors, and a fixed annuity." And they found that people who are surrounded by their friends, surrounded surrounded by their families who had these guaranteed paychecks every month were happier. Time magazine found the same thing in Great Britain. It said lifetime income stream key to retirement happiness. And they talked about a land of grumps that were happier when they had guaranteed lifetime income. And then the third reason you want an income annuity in your retirement portfolio is people who own annuities live longer. I mean, Freakonomics did a whole podcast on it. It was a University of Chicago study that studied people who bought guaranteed lifetime income annuities versus people who didn't. And they found the people that the income annuities lived longer than the people that didn't. And it had to do with the payout, that the anticipation of the payout. They had something to look forward to every month and caused them to live longer. There's an attorney, Patrick Tricker, who wrote an article for the Journal for Financial Service Professionals that he found that the average 65-year-old male who purchases a lifetime income annuity will live 20% longer than a 65-year-old male who does not. And it listed all the reasons why people with guaranteed income live longer. They have less stress. They don't worry as much. And because they're being paid to live, many of them choose to live differently. They watch what they eat. They exercise. They call a doctor when not feeling well. And all these little things cause them to tend to live longer. So if something improves your portfolio performance, allows you to be happier, and allows you to live longer, I don't know how anybody could be against that.
Well, in the United States of America, we'll find people that are against it. Don't you worry. Because there's some nutcases out there. But that is, I mean, again, I try and keep this as broad as possible for our audience, but I always take certain things on a personal level. During the bad years, the good years, the great years, I get up every day and I have to decide how I'm going to make a living that day. Am I going to write mortgages? Am I going to write insurance? Am I going to do a class? Am I going to do a speaking engagement? If I knew, and I never have, but it's been good to me, if I knew that there was X amount coming in every month, you know what? I would have taken better care of myself. I wouldn't have all this gray hair, the stress of, and that's how we all live lately. I think we do. Of, all right, how am I going to make a living today? Or how am I going to, even if it's better than that, how am I going to prosper today or this week or this month for my family? I know you rattled, I'll rewatch this as I always do, because you rattled off those other people and those other articles. But I think I want to, Anthony, get those links up on 62. I want people to see, what Tom is saying. Again, it's not an opinion. It's fact. It's scientific fact. Talk to me, really and truly. I'm talking to a few people now. I still can't believe it. Are you sure you should get an annuity? I mean, I heard bad stuff. Now I understand that in 1980, maybe even in the 1990s. Who's hearing bad stuff about annuities? 2 weeks before 2026. What can they be hearing? They've never failed. Most of them are tax deferred. They always pay more than a money market. What is this point blank crap? Oh, I've heard they're not good. What? How? What? Give me an example.
Yeah, I don't see much of that anymore. I mean, Ken Fisher's still out there doing his thing, and all I tell people is, if you ever, before you do business with Ken Fisher, just Google Ken Fisher, scandals, and I think that will settle it for you right there. And if not, I wrote an article on why Ken Fisher really loves annuities, and you should too. So you can Google that. That's still out there. The people who say bad things about annuities are not educated on income. They're not educated on retirement. Maybe they're still in the accumulation world. They're not in the retirement world. But the Center for Retirement Research at Boston College, they don't sell annuities. They say income annuities play a foundational role in any retirement portfolio. And I believe that to the heart of my soul. It should be a foundation. You know what? People love their Social Security, but you know what Social Security is? It's a lifetime income annuity. Mm-hmm. People love their pensions. You know what a pension is? It's a lifetime income annuity. And I'll tell you, people love their income annuities. I've never, and I've been in this business, 35 years? I've never met somebody who didn't like their income annuity. Not one. That's right. Yes, no, don't send me those checks. Please take them. I don't want any more money. No, don't keep sending it to me. Stop it already. I've never had that happen.
Have you ever had that happen, Marc? Please don't send me the money.
No, I have not had that happen. And one of the things that I want to bring up or ask a question to Tom about, in your last podcast, you were talking about the sub 59-year-old. One of the things that I do as a broad insurance advisor is I still talk about cash value life insurance leading into their annuity suite. for the same reason. I think that there's a great opportunity to take advantage of building them once built properly to set somebody up to position themselves with liquidity, legacy down the road, income that complements as they're leading into that annuity market. And the reason why I like to do that is it sets up a long-term game plan to show them how they could position themselves for an annuity, which gives them that guaranteed income, the security of that, with the additional benefit of the legacy program and some liquidity features. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in life insurance. Just so you know, I have moved more of my personal wealth to cash value life insurance. So when I turned 50, that's when I retired from New York Life, and I bought a $5 million term policy at the time just to make sure I had adequate coverage. And then at 55, I did a original age term conversion. I converted back to age 50, a 12-pay whole life policy. The premium $226,000 a year. So I mean, I'm serious about this. Now I'm through that. I'm done with it. It's all paid. All that money plus the dividends plus more guaranteed cash value sitting in there, and I can take that money out tax free. I can 1035 exchange it into a lifetime income annuity if I want. So I'm a big believer in that. In fact, Ernst & Young, one of the top accounting firms in the country. They just wrote a white paper. You can Google Ernst & Young, life insurance, annuities. You can pull it up yourself. And they put their AI and their smart people together, and they said the optimal portfolio, in their opinion, for retirement is 30% whole life insurance, 30% income annuity, 40% investments. I'm not making it up. And if you looked at my personal portfolio, it would be very close to those numbers. I mean, a little off one way or another, but very close, very close.
Yeah, and see, that's the mindset that I like to use, especially with the sub 59, the liquidity, 59 and a half. We know the challenges that somebody could face with an annuity, but you just hit all the hot buttons, and that's the conversation. And as it relates to 62 Who Knew and the audience that we're talking about, those are the critical components as I see them as an advisor, taking product to market and, blending those two environments together, a whole life program, an annuity structure for your future, and it really positions people really well. So, Michael, that's to Tom's point, why we look at it from both sides of the coin. When you're sub 59, how do you prepare? As you're really getting close to your retirement, do you position yourself for that tax-free income, then position yourself for your deferred income, take advantage of those lifetime guaranteed income annuities, and position yourself to really enjoy your retirement instead of stress it?
When we had here's something that really surprised me. Anthony and I talked about it during the week. We had our record month last month with 21,000 views. And when I looked at the specifics of it, our goal here is really ages 50, 55 to 100. Over 30% of our 21,000 viewers last month were between 35 and 45. Which for a name of a podcast, 62 Who Knew, that really surprised me. But that really isn't too early to start putting into your annuities, is it? Between 35 and 45. What do you say to people that age that go, is it time yet? I mean, I know you gave that unbelievable example about people with $1,000 car payments the last time you were on. That flipped me out too. You can't imagine how many of my friends said, you got to listen to that part.
Well, and that was from this book, my latest book, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And that's what I wrote for younger people on how to build wealth. Now, you can get into annuities in your 30s and 40s. Absolutely, you can. You can structure them so they start when you're, in your 60s or 70s. And because you wait that long, the payout rate's going to be incredible. I mean, it'll be incredible, high double-digit payout rates if you do that. But even if you use mutual funds, life insurance, and things to build wealth while you're younger, you can always turn those into income in the future. And I think what people forget about is retirement is all about income. It's about spending money. And I always say there's two types of people. There's savers and spenders. Which are you? I'm a saver. I've always been a saver. I've saved 30 to 40% of my income my whole life. My wife's a spender. She makes sure we don't live in a hot, we have some nice things around the house. And by the way, I think that's the best, because if you have two savers, yeah, you're going to have a lot of money, but you're going to live a boring life. If you have two spenders, oh man, you're going to party like it's 1999. You're going to have a lot of toys, but you're going to get a divorce in your 50s over financial issues. So I think a spender saver's the best way to do it. But how do you turn a saver like me into into a spender. And you see this, the truth is the average retiree is not overspending. The average retiree is way underspending.
Yes.
They could be having a much better retirement, but they don't dare, because just in case, what happens if market crashes? What happens if this happens? What happens if that happens? And so they live this, they don't touch their money, And I used to say, wait a minute, you told me when you retired you're going to join the country club, you're going to buy a new boat, you're going to go see the world. Have you done that? Oh no, the country's so divided, there's all this stuff going on. Market could be volatile. And so they don't touch their money, then they die. What happens to money? Goes to the kids. What do the kids do with it? Oh, they join the country club. They buy a new boat. They go see the world. And I want to make sure that your audience is the one out there having fun. Yeah, their kids can have fun too, but like somebody told me, if you don't fly first class, your kids will. So we've been flying first class.
Well, and it's also, I want to say to those young people, thank you for listening to 62 and watching 62 Who Knew. And I hope you're listening because you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, if we don't get mom and dad to do this, we're going to be writing those checks. So I hope that's why they're listening. So tell your mothers and fathers to come on to 62 Who Knew. Let's switch to a subject that is near and dear to my heart. And I know it's near and dear to both your hearts. And that is long-term care insurance for so many reasons. I mean, yes, income annuities, SPIAs, these are all on the tip of financial planners' tongues, but I don't think any three words are on the tip of financial planners' tongues the last decade, especially since COVID, as these three words, aging in place. And of course, annuities help that incredibly, but so does long-term care insurance. And I'd like you both, or one of you, to start to talk about products, because there are annuities that have long-term care insurance riders. And one especially that I recently did for a good friend of mine in her mid-60s that did not have the good enough health to get a normal long-term, is that normal? Is that the right word? A standard or traditional long-term care insurance policy. So we got her a great annuity. I mean, nothing short of a great annuity with a long-term care rider. And she's in her mid-60s, and in her late 70s, because that's when she's going to need the long-term care insurance, there's going to be over $1 million in the fund for her long-term care insurance. So let's, if you would, both, if you want to start, Tom, talk about annuities and long-term care insurance, because we're living longer. And people need long-term care insurance.
All right, what I say is no retirement is complete without a plan for long-term care. And I say any plan is better than no plan. So let's consider the three basic options, okay? First of all, there's traditional long-term care insurance. I mean, the good thing is it has great coverage. You can stay in your house. It'll pay for somebody to come to you. I call it anti-nursing home insurance because you actually stay in control and you don't have to go to a nursing home if you have that. The negative is it's pretty expensive, and if you don't need it and you die, that it's gone. Okay, now that is the one I own. Both my wife and I got it. We got it in our 40s. I think for most people, the life insurance with a long-term care rider might be a more practical option. The reason I say that is it does three things. Number one, it's an emergency fund. You can always get the money back out if you don't need it. So like if you put money in, you go, oh man, now my car broke down, you can always get the money. So it's number one, it's an emergency fund. Number two, let's say you put in this amount of money, it provides a much bigger, I can't fit my in the circle, but a much bigger circle of benefits for long-term care. Mm-hmm. So, if you put in 100,000, it might give you 300,000 of long-term care benefits. But then if you don't need the long-term care and you die, it might give 200,000 death benefit tax-free to your family. So it can provide long-term care coverage, it can be emergency fund, and it can provide a tax-free death benefit to your family. And then if you got somebody who is in terrible medical condition, they can't qualify for traditional insurance, they can't qualify for life insurance, that's where the annuity fits. And there are different types of annuities. There's some that double, some that triple the income. Some, I know there's one out there that's a guaranteed issue annuity that even if you are in a nursing home, you could buy it, and it has a little bit of a long-term care benefit to it. So I'll let Marc kind of get into the products more, but that's the way I see it. The traditional, then the life insurance with long-term care rider, and then some type of annuity. And I say any plan is better than no plan.
Yeah, and I echo exactly what you're talking about. Without going too far into products given time and the types of carriers that we work with, we work with A-rated carriers that offer all the things that you're talking about when it comes to the annuity side. You know, the income doublers, the income triplers, or the true long-term care riders for the reasons that you've described. There are great carriers out there, and the idea is exactly what you said. The reason why I'm personally, with the current market that I'm talking to, not a fan of the traditional model is for exactly what you said. Eligibility, it requires underwriting. Price point, if people are not young enough, like where you were in your 40s, it was probably price favorable. But once you get to 50 plus, if you have a little bit of a health condition, Michael, it gets to the point where it's very expensive. My reason, or one of my additional reasons, is that I like the idea of the hybrid products, whether you're using a whole life product, if you are eligible for that, is you have that opportunity for additional money going there instead of into a separate policy that positions you for growth, or leveraging a more of a death benefit for your living benefit component that's available on a lot of the new style whole life products. That's very sexy because it's a complement. When you marry that with a hybrid annuity that's got a long-term care component to it, now you're positioning people for income, being able to be flexible or liquid for taking out a chunk of money and having the guaranteed income. So we have fantastic carriers out there that are constantly innovating new products. As we're getting older, we're living longer and looking at the markets. That's something I think we should talk about, on a one-to-one basis from a carrier suite. But that's how people are positioning themselves, as I see it today, to prepare for the guaranteed income, the long-term care positioning. If they lose 2 of their 6 ADLs, the average lifespan there is about 3 years without being exact. So we position them for that coverage. If they live a little longer, we can go 5 years. Some carriers allow us to go 10 years with those income doublers, as long as they retain an accumulation value and position our clients really well. So not if, but when things happen, you're prepared. And what's the prep? Having access to the funds and the resources to take care of you.
Are you turning 65? Well, if so, the most important decision in your life right now is to determine which Medicare plan you need to be on for your unique changes in life. Are you still working? You on your employer's plan? How about being a snowbird? If so, you need to speak to a Medicare consultant who can help you with your needs. I'm Diane Daniels, and I'm the CEO of Medicare Nation. Go to www.62whoknew.com and click on the Medicare Nation tab. I will give you a free consultation to make sure we find the right plan for your unique needs.
What's the biggest threat to your retirement savings? It's not the stock market. It's the cost of long-term care. Home care, assisted living, or nursing facilities can drain your life savings in just a few years. That's why long-term care insurance isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. It protects your assets, preserves your independence, and gives your family peace of mind. Don't leave your future to chance. Visit 62whoknew.com and start planning the retirement you deserve. Now, as a novice, obviously nowhere near the knowledge base of either one of you, even close. When we talk about a hybrid product, in my mind, as the novice, I think of a single premium product. I know a lot of people say, traditional long-term care has gotten too expensive. And of course it has gotten more expensive because we're living longer. They're going to pay bigger claims. People are going to be on claim longer than our fathers and our grandfathers. That's just the simple truth of it. But can you do a single premium product without a huge down check, a huge down payment? Can you do a single product over a 10-year period, or, well, it's not single, a hybrid product, and still get a 10-year payment program to build it up? Because I have a lot of friends that I think would love to do this, but they can't write a check for $100,000.
So you're describing a flexible premium product. A lot of the carriers have a minimum amount required to go into a flexible premium. Some carriers could be 10 grand, some could be 20. It also depends on, where their source of funds are coming from, and what their age is and what they're positioning themselves for. So that's where we get really granular in the needs analysis. What's your family's history on health? What are we looking at? What are we thinking about? What could we be concerned about? And if they don't have the lump sum, then we want to put them in a flexible premium program, Michael, that gives them the opportunity to accumulate to something that Tom said earlier. He's got 22 annuities. So if and when, let's say, they get to the
13.
point where, I'm sorry, 13. I apologize.
Marc is going to buy you 9 more at the end of the show.
If we do
just
well
so we
together,
don't have to
why not?
audit, so we don't have to edit that. Don't worry about it.
But here's the thing. Let's say they're contributing to a 401k, or they have an IRA and they want to use that in a 1031 exchange environment. That might become their single premium conversion through the 1035. They leverage a flexible premium annuity along the way. I tell people not to overfund a 401k. I'm not anti 401k, but I like them to go ahead and take advantage of the match, then consider the right annuity and or whole life suite combo to prepare them so they're positioned for that. And when it comes to a single premium annuity, then we say, what are you looking to achieve? What kind of income? And then how do we assess your needs for your long-term care considerations? So the summary is that there's a lot of solutions available. There's not a one size fits all, but we do have programs available that would allow us to approach it like that.
Before I ask a question of Tom and of what you just said, because what you just spoke about the last 2-3 minutes, I understood what you said, but it was above me. And I'm sure it's above most of our viewers. I just want to remind people, go to www.62whoknew, go to the annuity link, click, get your free guide, read about this. There's no obligation. Go to the website, get your free guide. There's a free guide on long-term care insurance. There's a free guide on annuities. There is a free guide on life insurance. So please go there, learn. Now, the topic, and I want to ask Tom his opinion, of converting your 401k into annuities or whole life. We are a 401k country. Okay, that's also not an opinion. That's not a Mike Banner opinion. We have turned into a 401 country because so many companies don't give pensions anymore, like our parents and our grandparents. Sure, if you're a teacher or a fireman or a police officer, you're going to get a great pension. You don't get paid well, but you get a good pension. We are a 401 country. How many people, and what do you think about that theory, Tom, should be saying to themselves, okay, my employer matched for a number of years. I have a lump sum sitting there, but now it's time to convert into something to protect my retirement.
Yeah, I mean, I did it when I left New York. I've converted it into an IRA inside of an annuity. I have now converted that to Roth IRA, and it's income annuity, so I'm going to get tax-free income for the rest of my life. And I did it early enough that, like I said, my average payout is 9% a year for the rest of my life. I don't think that's too bad for my safe money. That's not my sexy invested in the market. That's my safe guaranteed money for the rest of my life. And I think if people really knew what they could do with this stuff, like if you retired 55 and you don't need income till you're 60 or 65, just that 5 or 10 years delay can significantly increase your payout. I mean, significantly. And that's why I think you need to work with Marc or a financial advisor, because you can't do this by yourself. I work with 2 financial advisors, all right? I mean, I know this stuff inside and out, but I don't follow every product by every company. And as you know, they change every 2 weeks. And some companies today are better for an 86-year-old woman than another one. And other companies are better for a 72-year-old male than other ones. And some are better for a 56-year-old male who wants to grow for 10 years and then take income. And if you don't have a financial advisor, how the heck are you ever going to figure that out? I mean, they even need to use computers and some AI-type tools to take the thousands of annuities and narrow it down to which one is best for you. So I just think you have to work with a financial professional. You have to. I don't think you can do it without it.
Agreed. I'd like to ask Tom a question on his perspective on the Roth conversion suite. Depending on how do you approach the Roth conversion when someone asks, hey, I'm rolling over a 401k, or I'm rolling over an IRA into an annuity, what do you tell them the best approach is? And if you want to put an age band on it, they're 65. They don't necessarily need the dollars now. What's your conversation and your thought process on the Roth conversion in today's market?
Well, the smartest people I know, they do it based on the tax brackets, and they try to go up as far as they can within the current tax bracket. And if the next one is only 2% higher, maybe they'll capture that whole other tax bracket and they'll convert a portion of it. They don't necessarily convert the whole thing all at once. And the other thing is, you may not want to convert it all anyway, because once you turn 73, I think it is, you can then do qualified charitable contributions. So if you tithe to your church 10%, you could now tithe that IRA away 10%, and you don't have to pay tax on that. And that goes tax-free to the charity, and they don't care if it's your IRA money or regular money. To them, it's the same. It's money. But for you, it's a big difference. And so there are ways, again, if you work with a financial professional, because you probably didn't know all this stuff, if you work with a financial professional, they will help you convert the right amount each year without having a huge extra tax burden.
Right. And that's the reason why I asked the question, Tom, because some people don't understand. There's a lot of publicity about Roth conversion. But today they're like, oh, let me just convert all my money into a Roth right now, but they don't realize or even think about what's their tax exposure there. Then you think about if you don't convert it all, you can do what you said and, leverage some for your charitable contribution. But then we start thinking about IRMA and how that's going to affect their Part B and their Part D and things like that. It's a total assessment. In many cases, depending on their age band, their total net worth, their liquidity to be able to pay their taxes out of other funds, we schedule that out. It's a great way, to your point, to move your money to really, expand on your tax-free income.
So I did a big Roth conversion when I was 63, okay? And I was above the income brackets anyway, so I didn't have to bracket. I just converted a bunch, okay? And it cost me a lot in taxes. I knew that was going to happen, but here's what I didn't think of. When I turned 65, what age do they look at for my income to determine my IRMA? They look at what I did when I was 63. And so I got all this income. So my IRMA is going to be at the max. And I know I can apply for a one-time blah, 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 but I won't qualify for it anyway. So I just basically, here's a guy who knows a lot about this business, but didn't even think when he was 63, what he did would affect his Medicare when he's 65. And I know I'm not the only one who would say that.
Tell the host and our viewers, what the hell is an IRMA?
Well,
I thought it was a hurricane.
Well, let's keep it really simple. There's a tax law, and the IRMA is an acronym. But basically, when you take too much income or have a lot of income and pay a lot of tax in that last period, the Part B and the Part D for your Medicare, depending on your income, has an expense line. You pay a certain amount for those dollars. So like in Tom's case, when he did that big conversion and all of a sudden it became income that he paid taxes on, the premium went up on his Part B and his Part D. I'm praying, and Tom seems pretty successful at it. It's affordable for him, but it goes up a lot. So when people start thinking about their retirement, and this is as a diversified advisor focused on retirement, we start thinking about you're getting close to that age of 65. When you're going to get your Medicare, your Part A is going to come, you're going to have a Part B cost. How are you positioned from a health-wise? What do you need for medications? What are we positioning for your guaranteed income? And how do we look at these things? We want to think about what it's going to do to those particular expenses, because those become fixed expenses in your retirement. And we want to make certain that we're being cautious about how you're taking the income in those conversions so it doesn't cause it to go up too much, Michael. So to keep it really basic for the audience, it matters what you do, like Tom said, at 63 in those last couple of years on what you're converting and how it reflects on your income and those other costs associated with retirement.
And Michael, just to put it in perspective, if the normal Medicare premium is $186 a month, mine's going to be like $700 something. It's not a little difference. It's not a little difference. It's a huge difference. Yeah.
Well, I was looking through my notes last night of all your appearances on the show. And one of the things that I had in quotes, I mean, we're going back years, and you've said it several times today. And this is another thing that amazes me about, not just John Q. Public, but my own friends and acquaintances. Retirement is not a do-it-yourself project. It's just staggering to me how people, we don't even use Google anymore. We're going to use chat. We're using artificial intelligence. We're creating our own trust. We're creating our own retirement plan. I looked through Medicare B through M. I picked the right one for myself. And I say to them, no, you didn't. No matter how much research you didn't do what's right. You're not a financial planner. And that really stuck with me these last X amount of years. Retirement is not a do-it-yourself project.
And it was interesting, if you go to any of the AI and ask about me, I'm in AI, and they'll say, listen to him. He knows his stuff.
Okay, that's big. That's crazy. Big. I want to be an AI. If you ask AI about me, they go, who's he? No, that's fantastic. Well, I want you to repeat just a quick story, and then we're going to go. Again, I want to remind everybody that Tom is here for the fourth time, and he's also our national spokesman, and Marc is our national sponsor for all things insurance. Please get Tom's books. Go to tomhegna.com. Learn. Go to www.62whoknew.com. Get our free guides. Learn. But you repeated a story which hit home for me the last time you were here about all those people with $1,000 car payments. Now, I've never had a $1,000 car payment, but I'm embarrassed to say I've come close, because when I was, I like my cars. If you would just repeat that little anecdotal thing about how they're driving $1 million car, that hit me. I mean, I looked at Anthony afterwards and went, I'm one of those people. Holy,
Yeah. So in my latest book, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I say almost every American could be a millionaire except for two simple things. Number one, they spend way too much money in their cars and they get divorced. So the moral of the story is drive a used car and stick with your first spouse. Now, I say that a little tongue in cheek, but divorce is a financial nuclear bomb. Now, I've been married to the same woman for 42 years,
Wow.
but I've got friends who've been divorced. That wipes out people. But the number one reason is they spend way too much money on their cars. And I have my new favorite slide in that presentation. It says, turn your car payment into $1 million. And I show a $250 car payment, a $500 car payment, a $1,000 car payment. And I say, if you just invested that at 7%, not 12, at 7%, 250, 500, 1,000. Every one of those hits $1 million. Now, the $1,000 a month car payment hits $5.4 million. And I know there are couples where both the husband and the wife have $1,000 a month car payments.
Yes.
Now, do you really think they understand they're driving around a $10.8 million retirement? And if they did, would they choose to put their $2,000 a month there? I don't think so. You don't ever want to pay interest on a depreciating asset. Cars are depreciating assets. You want to put as little money as possible into depreciating assets, and you want to put as much money as possible into appreciating assets, stocks, real estate, crypto, whatever your appreciating assets are. You do not want to put a bunch of money into things that go down. The problem is people are so focused on trying to look wealthy that they're not becoming wealthy. And I say, stop trying to look wealthy, focus on becoming wealthy. That car payment, $1,000 car payments are ridiculous. They're ridiculous. You're killing your own financial health by doing it. But I mean, people do it. So, I see guy bumper stickers. He who dies with the most toys wins. No. He who dies with most toys normally is broke. They just look like they got. Really
And earlier than the rest with a great retirement.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That is probably the best way to end a show we've done in 5 years. Don't look wealthy, be wealthy. I think you should copyright that, get it on a T-shirt, get it on a button. Maybe it's the title of your next book. Don't look wealthy, be wealthy. I want to thank both of you for being here again. I want to thank our audience. Remind you to go to our website, www.62whoknew.com. Again, both of you, thank you so much. To our audience, I said it at the beginning of the show. I'll say it again. This is our last live show for 2025. We're going to play 2 incredible repeats for the next 2 weeks. You and your families have a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, any holiday that you may be celebrating, and have a happy and healthy New Year. Thank you both so much for being here.